Welcome to Miss Rowe Classroom. This session focuses on Chapter 3 from Hornbill. Please like, subscribe, and share the video. Discovering Tut describes the scientific investigation of King Tutankhamun, the young Egyptian pharaoh who died over 3,300 years ago. His tomb, discovered by Howard Carter in 1922, contained valuable treasures as well as his remarkably well-preserved mummy. To learn more about his life and mysterious death, scientists conducted a CT scan of his mummy in 2005. The scan produced detailed images of his body and helped researchers study his age, health, and the possible cause of his death. The excerpt also discusses Egypt's history, especially religious reforms, restoration of traditional beliefs, and highlights the role of modern technology in archaeology. Let's begin with the chapter. The chapter examines the continuing mystery of Tutankhamun, the young Egyptian pharaoh who died more than 3,300 years ago. He was the last heir of a powerful royal family that had ruled Egypt for centuries. After his death, Tutankhamun was buried with immense wealth and gradually faded from public memory. The discovery of his tomb in 1922 renewed worldwide interest in both his life and the circumstances of his death. Historians and scientists have debated the cause of his death, proposing theories such as illness and even murder. In 2005, researchers used modern technology, especially a CT scan, to investigate these unanswered questions further. On 5th January 2005 at 6 p.m., King Tut's mummy was removed from its resting place in the Valley of the Kings. Strong desert winds raised swirling dust storms, creating a mysterious and dramatic atmosphere. Tutankhamun's mummy was then transported to a CT scanner that had been specially brought to the archaeological site. The scientific team wanted to learn more about Tut's life, determine the cause of his death, estimate his exact age at the time of the death, and create an accurate forensic reconstruction of his face. Before the scientific examination, tourists from all over the world regularly visited Tut's tomb. The tomb is located about 26 feet below the ground. Visitors admired the colorful wall paintings and gazed at Tut's gilded face on the coffin lid. They thought about his early death and wondered about the famous curse of the pharaoh. According to this popular belief, anyone who disturbed the pharaoh's tomb would suffer bad luck or even death, which made Tutankhamun's even more fascinating to the public. Egypt's chief of antiquities, Zahi Hawass, observed that the mummy was in very poor condition. Although ancient tomb robbers had already entered the burial chamber, most of the treasures were still in place. The tomb was considered the most magnificent royal burial ever discovered. Tut was buried with royal treasures such as gold jewelry, a gold mask, a gold coffin, bracelets and amulets, as well as everyday objects like board games, a razor, linen clothes, food, and wine. The ancient Egyptians believed that these objects would help the king in his journey through the afterlife. The discovery sparked excitement worldwide and made Tutankhamun famous even in modern times. After recording and cataloging the treasures, Carter opened the series of nested coffins containing the mummy. He noticed floral garlands, which showed that Tut had been buried in March or April. The mummy was firmly stuck to the coffin because the ritual raisins used during burial had hardened. Carter tried to place the coffin in the intense desert sunlight where the temperature rose to about 149 Fahrenheit, hoping the heat would soften the raisin. Even after this attempt, the hardened raisin did not loosen, and the mummy remained stuck. Finally, Carter used metal tools to pry the body loose, forcibly separating the mummy from the coffin. Carter feared that thieves might steal the gold ornaments if they were left in place. To protect these treasures, he decided to remove the mummy from its gold and jewelry. In the process of removing the gold, the head was cut off and the major joints were separated. The body was taken apart piece by piece to free all the ornaments. After the ornaments were removed, the remains were reassembled and placed in a wooden box on a bed of sand. Padding was added to hide much of the severe physical damage that had been done to the mummy. Earlier, archaeology mainly focused on finding and collecting treasures. Modern archaeology, in contrast, focuses on understanding how ancient people lived. Old archaeological practice was mostly excavation-oriented, while modern archaeology is more scientific. In the past, archaeologists had limited technology, but today they use advanced tools such as medical imaging. Modern archaeologists aim to understand how ancient people lived and died and what their health and lifestyles were like. In 1968, more than 40 years after Carter discovered the tomb, researchers x-rayed Tut's mummy. The investigation produced surprising and unexpected results. The x-ray showed that Tut's breastbone was missing, along with several ribs from the front of his rib cage. These findings raised new questions about whether these injuries were connected to his death, whether Carter had caused the damage, or whether they suggested that Tut might have been murdered. CT stands for computed tomography, a medical imaging technique. It combines hundreds of X-ray images to create a three-dimensional model of the body. The technology allows scientists to examine internal structures without cutting the body open. Researchers hope that the CT scan would tell them Tut's age at death, his health condition, and the exact cause of his death. Tutankhamun's death was historically important because he was the last ruler of his royal dynasty. His death brought an end to a powerful and prominent family line in ancient Egypt. Even today, historians do not know exactly how he died. Tut's father or grandfather, Amenhotep III, ruled during Egypt's Golden Age. Amenhotep III ruled successfully for nearly 40 years. His successor, Amenhotep IV, introduced major religious changes. Akhenaten promoted the worship of the sun god Aten instead of the traditional gods. He changed his name from Amenhotep IV to Akhenaten and shifted the capital from Thebes to Amarna. He also closed temples dedicated to the god Amun. These radical changes disturbed the traditional order of Egyptian society. Historians describe this period as one of the great chaos and instability. After Akhenaten's death, a mysterious ruler named Smenkhkarib briefly took the throne. Afterwards, the young Tutankhaten became king. He later changed his name to Tutankhamun, meaning living image of Amun. He restored the old religious practices and reopened the temples that had been closed. He brought back the former beliefs and tried to stabilize the kingdom. After ruling for about 9 years, he died suddenly in his late teens. Egypt started a large-scale investigation known as the Egyptian Mummy Project. By 2005, the project had catalogued nearly 600 mummies. Portable CT scanners were introduced so that mummies could be scanned without being moved far from the tombs. Tutankhamun was among the first mummies selected for the CT scanning program. Even after death, he continued to receive special attention compared with other mummies. During the procedure, the CT scanner examined Tut's mummy from head to toe. The scientific team produced about 1,700 digital cross-sectional images. These images showed details of his skull, neck vertebrae, rib cage, hands, and other internal structures. Experts in radiology, anatomy, and forensic science worked together to analyze the scanned data. During scanning, sand entered the CT machine's cooling fan. As a result, the expensive $1 million scanner stopped working for a while. A guard jokingly said that the stoppage was due to the famous curse of the pharaoh. After replacement fans were installed, the machine began working again and the scanning was completed successfully. Less than 3 hours after being taken out, Tut's mummy was returned to his tomb. Workers carefully placed him back in his original resting place. The scientific team tried to disturb the mummy as little as possible, showing respect for the dead. Technicians displayed the CT images on computer screens after the scan. These images gave clear three-dimensional views of Tut's body. Zahi Hawass admitted that he had been very anxious about the procedure. When the scan was completed, he felt relieved and satisfied. As the researchers left the site, the wind suddenly stopped. The valley grew silent and cold. The constellation Orion shone in the sky above the tomb. The ancient Egyptians associated Orion with Osiris, the god of the afterlife. The final image suggests that the boy king was still believed to be under divine protection, even thousands of years after his death. Let's study the major themes present in the chapter. First, science and technology in uncovering the past. The chapter shows how modern scientific tools such as X-rays and CT scans help archaeologists solve historical mysteries. These technologies allow researchers to study King Tut's mummy without damaging it. They provide important information about his life, health, and the possible cause of death. The chapter stresses or highlights that science plays a crucial role in understanding history. Second theme, the mystery or the allure of King Tut's life and death. A key theme of the chapter is the continuing mystery surrounding King Tutankhamun. Historians and scientists have long sought to determine how the young pharaoh died and what his life was like. The chapter shows human curiosity about the past and a desire to know the truth about historical events. In short, science helps reveal the secrets of the past, and the mystery of the King Tut's life and death continues to fascinate people around the world. Let's quickly go through a short revision. King Tut died mysteriously in his late teens. His tomb was discovered by Howard Carter in 1922. Carter damaged the mummy while removing its valuable ornaments. Modern archaeology now focuses on scientific investigation rather than solely on hunting for treasure. CT scanning provided a non-destructive way to study Tut's remains. Tut's death brought an end of an important Egyptian dynasty. The 2005 CT scan produced about 1,700 images and gave new clues about his life and death. The chapter combines history, archaeology, science, and mystery to show how modern technology helps uncover ancient secrets. To sum up, Discovering Tut the Saga Continues shows how history and modern science come together to search for answers about King Tutankhamun's life and death. The chapter explains how advanced technologies such as X-rays and CT scans have changed archaeology by allowing researchers to study ancient remains more accurately and respectfully. The chapter also highlights the continuing mystery of the young pharaoh, whose early death still attracts the world's interest. By tracing the story from Howard Carter's discovery to modern forensic investigations, the chapter highlights human curiosity about the past and the vital role of science in uncovering historical truths. We have finished explaining Chapter 3, Discovering Tut, the Saga Continues. For more in-depth study, visit our reference website mistroclassroom.com for detailed study guides, literary devices, character sketches, extract-based questions, extra questions, and themes for Class 11. In the next session, we'll analyze the poem The Laburnum Top by Ted Hughes. If you enjoyed the content, ask questions, subscribe, like, and share the video. And please don't forget to hit the notification bell. Bye-bye.